have something a little bit different. It's another virtual speaker, which I'm very excited about, all the way from Spain. I would like to introduce Jordi Padilla-Delgado. Waiting for the floating head to appear. Now, Jordi works as a records manager at Lloret de Mar Municipal Archive in Catalonia, Spain. He's also developing some research lines on sex-affective and gender diversity lost memory at the Archival Science and Records Management School at the University Autònoma in Barcelona. Barcelona, what that was. So welcome, Jordi. Apologies, my Spanish is, well, quite rubbish. So Jordi will be presenting on LGBTQ+ memory and archives and intersectionality experience. Over to you. You ran away from me.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me at the conference. Thank you especially to Katharine Dan of ANU for her help, and to my parents. Orthodox archival theory and daily practice in public institutional archives have traditionally failed to include the voices of women and minorities. For many years, community-based archives have made all the work in this sense. This lightning talk tries to approach different points of interest about the dialogue between these two models, focusing on the lost memory of the LGBTQ+ people. It also speculates about the genesis of these collections and differences in treatment. I will pay attention to some examples of good practices and finally describe an intersectionality and archives program to be run at a small municipal archive. Institutional archives usually don't adopt a queer perspective about collections and records. The documents and collections kept by national, state, or municipal archives refer to LGBTQ+ individuals in a negative way, as Steve Maynard said in 1991. This position reflects the widespread view on sexual minorities until the rise of lesbian and gay liberation movements in the second half of the 1960s. The Stonewall riots in 1969 are an inflection point in that process of change. From that point, LGBTQ+ communities organized its own archival initiatives outside the institutional archives. The first project in this sense is the Lesbian History Archives in New York, although there were past experiences of erased archives, such as the one created by Magnus Hirschfeld in Berlin in 1897 and destroyed in 1933. Now, institutional archives are walking the path of inclusion. The vast majority of national archives, however, don't pay attention to LGBTQ+ memory. Only a few of them are doing. In our case study, we have found that National Archives US, the National Archives UK, and Archives New Zealand are the best ones into this group, with the UK slightly leading this movement, thanks to the models presented by the National Archives at the National Archives level, and also the London Metropolitan Archives at our municipal archives level. The analysis of these and other projects has inspired us to develop a series of guidelines for our municipal archives to follow in the path of adopting a queer perspective in institutional archives, mainly derived from the diversity of processes and methods applied by community archives. These guidelines are the foundation of the LGBTQ+ section in our Intersectionality and Archives program and could be summarized in the following 6 points. Point 1, the design and implementation of archival policies that recognize invisibility and marginalization of LGBTQ+ people. Point 2, the adoption of a gender perspective regarding the acquisition, treatment, and dissemination of documentary collections, users, and archival staff. Point 3, the creation or adaptation of existing instruments, such as practice guides, intersectional inclusion manuals, or inclusive and reparative archival description tools. Some archives and libraries share these tools in their websites, so you can go there and reuse them. You can find a good example at the Harvard Library System website. Point 4, the design and maintenance of specific LGBTQ+ community and intersectionality records and document sections for institutional archives websites. Point 5, the collaboration with LGBTQ+ community organizations, offering them the resources, services, and skills institutional archives can provide, following a model of participatory archival project. To know more about PAP, you have the ROPA project, the Roadmap to Participatory Archiving at the University of Massachusetts Boston website. And point 6, the interaction with LGBTQ+ community in the digital environment through social media tools, with special care for intergenerational relationships and other intersectional aspects, such as race, ethnic origin, disability, and neurodiversity. A good starting point is to realize that our small municipal archive suffers a lack of LGBTQ+ voices in collections and documents. This absence is powerful evidence of a silent reality. But if you read between the lines, the documents reveal a hidden history, maybe in a local magazine article or in a first glance boring letter. So you can build the first draft of a genealogy of the LGBTQ+ local life, and a map of its significant spaces, such as bars, bathhouses, or cruising areas. Maybe you will find someone aged enough to remember this hidden history, and you can begin an oral history project recording these memories. Probably with the records will arrive some photographs, flyers, or magazines, and other people that want to talk about it. As said previously, using digital resources is a key point in this process. One of the models we have studied is the one represented by Lost Gay Melbourne or Lost Gay Perth Facebook pages. Although Melbourne and Perth are not small towns, the idea is inspiring and can be adapted. As Rob Culver says, digital media practices such as these Facebook sites turn archiving into an activity that is part of everyday online experience, engaged with effectively and implicated in the production and maintenance of minority and diverse sexual and gender identities. Institutional archives shouldn't ignore this as a way to connect with users and community, but always from a critical point of view, as seen in recent archives and manuscripts articles. For example, engaging with queer counter-narratives in the archives, collecting and exhibiting practices as Rose Barrowcliffe proposes about the case of Indigenous peoples, or working from archival activism through data analysis, like the Cuéntalo case presented by Vicente Gomez and Aniol Maria, and much more considering that Facebook, Twitter, and other platforms are private companies with no attachment to socially engaged archival practices, as Dominic Rassman warns. Obviously, if there is an LGBTQ+ association or municipal department in your town, you need to contact them before starting the project and engage them in it. Probably they have also websites and or social media pages, so collaborate and be allies. The Intersectionality and Archives program includes another 3 focus points: women, migrations, and disability and neurodiversity. Only if we are capable of treating the minorities' memories in an intersectional way can we see the reality of the complexity of this discrimination and recover the silent voices. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you, Jordi. That was fantastic. Are there any questions in the audience? Don't be shy now. Yes, that lovely lady in pink. I can't remember where you're from, but you said before. Melbourne?
Adelaide.
Ah, goodness, right next door.
Kate Pulford from Prince Alfred College Archives in Adelaide. Hola, Jordi. Thank you very much. I wondered if you had any difficulty accessing any of these records, in particular about trans or transgender records. Did you have any difficulty finding access to these?
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for having me. Thank you for all the people for being there. Well, for trans people, we have fortunately here in Lloret, we have some cases of trans people
that want to collaborate with this project, and we are being assessed by them. So for us, it's a great chance to develop this collaboration. About documents of trans people, well, you have to think that this is a small town, and there isn't a little LGBT community, and it's really difficult. But if you find some people, things are easier, obviously.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've just noticed I come from a school archive, and I think archives or schools in Australia are experiencing trans children coming out in school age, and there aren't any records in particular in my college archive about that at all, and it's just something that I'm anticipating we might be managing in the future. So thank you very much, Jordi.
Thank you.
I wonder if it's a case that the records are there, we just haven't realised them that they're there. I don't know. Well, no, they would never be, because, yeah, it's part of life. Well, not yet. Anyway, were there any questions online? The lovely Annie Rose. Was that Annie Rose? Yes. Okay. Okay. Jordi, thank you so much. I think he's disappeared. But that was excellent presentation.